Happy New Year, everyone. We're kicking off 2026 with something brand new. Welcome to our new segment, Trans History for Dummies. Basically, history class causing more trans panic but actually useful. To start us off, we're talking about Micheal Dillon, a trans man who transitioned in the 1940s. Yes, the 1940s. I thought this trans thing was a new trend too. But Michael didn't just transition socially. He became the first known trans man to ever get a phalloplasty, also known as bottom surgery, way before modern techniques. If you've ever thought about how long the waitlists are now, imagine trying to get surgery when the surgery itself didn't even exist yet. Michael was born in 1915 in England, assigned female at birth. His mother died of sepsis just days after he was born, and his father died of alcoholism 10 years later. He was raised by his aunts, but from a very young age, he felt just like us. In his memoir, Michael wrote about a moment that changed everything. He was out for a walk with a vicar's nephew, and a young man held the gate open for him. Michael wrote, "Suddenly, I was struck with an awful thought, for no one had done this for me before. He thinks I'm a woman. It was a horrible moment and I felt stunned. I had never thought of myself as such, despite being technically a girl." He attended Oxford and joined the Women's Rowing Club, mostly because it felt like an escape from social functions populated by what he called politely condescending young men. He even became club president in his second year. He graduated in 1938 and bought a motorcycle immediately. The best way to cure transphobia, in my opinion, is for all of us to just become bikers. Dillon started working as a lab assistant in Bristol, dissecting brains. When World War II began in 1939, he volunteered for the Women's Auxiliary Air Force but was told he wasn't suited for the work. Basically, he refused to act ladylike enough and couldn't stand the idea of living in women's dorms, so he went back to the lab. It was there that he heard about a doctor named Dr. George Foss, who was experimenting with testosterone to treat menstrual issues. The treatment worked, but it had side effects such as facial hair, voice deepening, bottom growth. You know, the good stuff. Dillon approached Foss and asked for the hormone for himself. Foss was actually pretty cool about it but wanted a psychiatrist to sign off first. And this is where it gets messy. Dillon trusted the psychiatrist with his story, and the guy immediately betrayed him, blabbing to his friends at a dinner party about a woman who wanted to become a man. Despite the risk of a scandal, Dr. Foss quietly gave Dillon the testosterone pills anyway. Dillon moved from job to job before landing at a garage called College Motors. He described it as the worst time of his life. Coworkers ridiculed him and constantly outed him to customers. But after a few years on testosterone, things started to shift. Strangers started addressing him as a man without question. The harassment stopped. And folks, that is why gender-affirming care saves lives. Sadly, Dillon suffered from hypoglycemia and wound up in hospitals often. During one stay, a surgeon offered to perform a double mastectomy and encouraged him to legally change his name and gender marker. That surgeon also told him about Sir Harold Gillies. Gillies was a legendary plastic surgeon, famous for reconstructing the faces of injured soldiers and working with intersex patients. Dillon contacted him, and Gillies agreed to try a phalloplasty, but only after the war ended. You can imagine the torture he had to go through, waiting for so long. At the time, gender-affirming surgery was deeply frowned upon. Gillies, however, believed that it was necessary if it brought happiness to the patient. In 1946, while Dillon was in med school, he finally went to Rooksdown House. Gillies performed 13 surgeries over several years to construct a penis using skin flaps from Dillon's leg and stomach. To keep it legal, Gillies diagnosed Dillon with acute hypospadias, a common congenital condition where the urethral opening is on the underside of the penis rather than the tip. It was the perfect cover. That same year, Dillon published a book titled Self, a study in ethics and endocrinology. It caught the attention of Roberta Cowell, a trans woman who would reach out to him for advice. They became close, and Dillon actually performed an orchidectomy on her secretly in her home, a surgery procedure to remove both testicles. It was illegal and highly dangerous, but it helped Roberta access the rest of her care. Dillon fell hard for her, even proposed in 1951, but Roberta wasn't interested. She was a bit of a problematic queen herself. She later said she turned him down because she feared it would be two women getting married. The internalized transphobia was real. In 1952, Dillon joined the Merchant Navy as a ship's doctor, living fully as a man. But he couldn't outrun the press. In 1958, tabloids found a discrepancy in the aristocratic records. He was listed as a male heir in one book and female in another. They tracked him down in Baltimore and outed him to the world. To escape the circus, he resigned and fled to India, where he eventually became a Buddhist monk named Jivaka. At first, even there, it wasn't simple. One senior monk reportedly refused to accept him after learning about his past, and Jivaka had to leave and seek out another monastery to be reordained. He quietly died young at just 47. If you want to know more about his life to do a deep dive, we've attached links in the description, including his biography, Out of the Ordinary. If you have someone you want us to cover next, drop their name in our DMs or send it through our submission link.